All right, we are live and we are back, and it is let me adjust the camera a little bit, but it is okay. That's fine. All right, but yes, so we are live. We are back. It is Wednesday again. I finally have gotten the better camera quality I've been trying to produce. We are now connected to the camera instead of just off the straight up like built-in webcam of the MacBook. But yes, so we are here. We're better. We are finally showing progress. But yes, but right into the good stuff, the sports, what we are here for. I normally do start with NFL topics, but we got crazy stuff going on in the NBA. The other day, I came home from work, fell asleep, woke up, and I seen Luka Doncic traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, right? And then there was all the extra stuff. But really, actually, if you look at it, the Lakers got what? They got the Morris brother, Markieff. They got Markieff Morris. They got Maxi Kleber and Luka for AD, and then there was the guy they sent to Utah. That was wild. Yeah, whole world freaking out. LeBron, I didn't believe it. Luka didn't believe it. Anthony Davis didn't believe it. Nobody knew. Nobody thought. They were like, "Oh, what? Who's reporting this? Where's this coming from?" Man, but a lot of people were saying that Dallas is so dumb for doing this trade. But I don't think they're as dumb as some people. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. I'm not saying that Klay Thompson or Kyrie Irving are as good as Luka Doncic. That's not what I'm here to say. But they are guard heavy, right? You're not going to get somebody with any validity if you're trading Kyrie because of the issues he's had in the past. And you're also not going to get anybody for Klay Thompson because you barely were able to sign. It's there's not much that you're going to get from trading these other players. So, your biggest asset to trade was Luka, and they didn't like his, mindset and, his lack of defense, his lack of conditioning. It was weird. He was slimmer in the offseason than he was during the regular season, right? Because everybody's like, oh, wow, Luka kind of slimmed down. He's looking good. And then now he's, in the regular season, he's kind of chubby again. And then, when Kobe told Shaq, or when Kobe made the comments about Shaq, where he was if Shaq had the work ethic I did, he'd be the greatest player ever. We got to think about that with Luka too, because if Luka is this good off of just raw skill and just not giving a damn, his potential is insane. Because if he's this good off of not that much work. Now, I mean, obviously he hasn't put in work to be where he's at in the NBA. You don't just make the finals just to make the finals. But if he was putting in the amount of work and time and effort all these other greats put in, LeBron, Kobe, right? Because LeBron puts in a million, right? Whatever. There's his crazy body regimen where he does all that every year, right? Which hopefully he rubs off on Luka in that portion since they're on the same team now. But with LeBron putting in that much effort towards his body recovery, right? Kobe putting in all the effort towards I'm in the gym every day, first one in, last one out, right? If Luka had that great mentality, how he has the great talent of those dudes, boy, would Luka be I'm talking it's astronomical what this dude could be capable of. Because to be as smooth as him at basketball with such size, but at the same time such grace. If he really put in the work, he could be the best player of all time easily. But that's the thing; it doesn't seem like Luka's really willing to put in the work. Which maybe this is best for Luka, being maybe because right, he was at such a high level, and then they're Dallas is nah, we got to knock this dude down a notch. We can't just be putting our entire franchise into somebody who's not willing to even put in his full effort into the right. And then but they also keyed in on we want defenders, defense wins championships. That's what the Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavericks said. So he was like, "Oh yeah, well we want defense. Defense wins championships." Anthony Davis is like one of the best defenders in the league. Like you're not getting Wemby from the Spurs. So Anthony Davis is like probably right there. I mean, you'd rather have Anthony Davis than Rudy Gobert, right? If we're talking about defenders that can also play like great or like I don't know if you want to call Anthony Davis elite offensively, but like he's definitely an elite defender, but like he's damn near, if not to that level on offense as well. So like it's not that bad for Dallas because now that Dallas is like big three, if you want to call it, or right, like is now that you have Kyrie Irving, amazing point guard, like playmaker, Klay Thompson, great, one of the best shooting guards, 3-point shooters of all time. And then you have Anthony Davis, who's one of the best defenders, best stretch fours and or like stretch fives, if you will. If that's even like it's not really a thing, but like it's like one of the better active like fives, like small ball fives, if you will. That's what I guess you could call that. But like right, Anthony Davis, like, and then also they have the other players, right? Like Gafford and then the other individuals that they have over there in Dallas. I think they're building something that could be good and like something that could contend now because they do need the size that they were kind of lacking. They do need that size to contend in the West because they have like Chet Holmgren out there. They got Wemby. They've got KD. If he stays in the West, we can get to that later. Like we have all these like kind of like not small ball, but like they all these like Jokic. You need somebody who can defend these people because these dudes are like, come on now, like so and like yeah, Luka's big, especially for his position, but he can't really play like a big position. Like he play like the biggest he could probably play is small forward. And it's like you don't want him doing that anyway because he's a playmaker, ball dominant shooter kind of guy. So like, yeah, like the way like now that they have like a team, like a team built kind of orientation instead of just like like Luka centric, I think it's good for Dallas. I also think it's good for LA. It kind of sucks for LeBron because LeBron and AD were good friends, right? And they had the championship together. But that's another thing. It's like LA was not going to get a championship. And like I don't need to sit here and argue that LA won this trade because that's what everybody thinks. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, LA got this best 25-year-old player in the league. And I mean, that's debatable. Luka being the best 25-year-old player in the league, right? Or sub 25, right? Whatever because like, I mean, given I don't know everybody's age, but like SGA's down there, Wemby's down there. Like these dudes could end up being better than Luka. Not that they are or not right now. Like given like Luka did just make the finals, right? He brought that Mavs team to the finals. That's the thing. Everybody was like, "Oh, the Mavs did Luka so dirty." They kind of didn't. Like Luka wouldn't be anything without the Mavs, the same way the Mavs wouldn't have really been anything without Luka recently. So it's like it was like I forget how it's called, like a symbiotic relationship where like both things benefited. Like there wasn't like one was like a bacteria to the other, like leeching off. Like they both built each other's brands. And then at some point you're going to have to separate. You're going to have to go different ways. So like Luka even said like in his Lakers opening press conference, he's like, oh, I knew someday that this day would come. Now I'm just happy to be a Laker. And it's like the Lakers always do this. They always have like the bright and shining like stars, which that's their brand. And that's where they went. Like you don't like LeBron's not going to keep playing forever. Bronny obviously is not taking his spot. I mean, hey, he made his first ever 3 in the NBA, which is good. But goodness gracious, he's not taking anybody's spot in a starting lineup anytime soon, it doesn't seem like. So then, yeah, so like you had to go out and get somebody, right? Because Anthony Davis is old as well. So the Lakers needed a young superstar that could eventually carry the franchise on to greater things. That your best bet of getting was Luka because, right, you're not – like the only other trade candidates, I mean, you could have got De'Aaron Fox, but you don't really need Fox. Like Luka was a better fit for them. Luka's also a bigger star. Like, yeah, I don't know. But then, and then like, because like I said, Fox gets traded. He apparently he also only wanted to go to the Spurs. He told Sacramento, like, I want San Antonio. And then, of course, like, why wouldn't they give him what he wants? Like, De'Aaron Fox has done nothing but provide and fight for that Sacramento team, which I don't know what they're going to do moving on without him. They got Zach LaVine now, Domantas Sabonis. I don't know. Chicago lost that trade. I don't even know what Chicago got. But they lost Zach LaVine and they did not get De'Aaron Fox. I was like, what is Chicago doing here? But De'Aaron Fox with Victor Wembanyama down in San Antonio with Greg Popovich. Dangerous combos going on down there. So, yeah, like that's just point blank period. Like De'Aaron Fox, one of like the top point guards, like great passer, right? He's only like not had playoff success because he's been on the Kings. And then Victor Wembanyama, who's finally got himself like, because right, he obviously is supposed to be the Spurs like centerpiece franchise, right? Like he's supposed to be their future. Now that you finally got him, like, because De'Aaron Fox is still pretty young too as well. Not like he's not the youngest, but like he's still like in his prime, right? So like now you got somebody in their prime who's like you have number 1 and number 5 right on the team, or like the 1 spot and the 5 spot, like position wise, you got one of the best young centers, if not the best young center in the league right now. And then you got like this dude who's like damn near mastered the pick and roll with Domantas Sabonis. Now he has like, no offense to Domantas Sabonis, but a better counterpart in that measure. So I don't know. Like that's going to be dangerous. That's a great trade for like the Kings won. Well, the Kings didn't really win, I wouldn't say in that trade, but they didn't really lose either. I don't know what the Bulls did. But them getting – because, like, De'Aaron Fox wanted out, right? So that's fine. But then, like – or I don't even know if De'Aaron Fox wanted out. Like, did he request a trade? That was weird. It's like, why would the Kings get rid of De'Aaron Fox? Maybe they didn't want to sign him. And, I mean, that's another thing with the Luka trade. Everybody's like, oh, well, Dallas just didn't want to re-sign him. And it's like, yeah, if you don't want to re-sign him, why would you not trade him? Like, it's a business. Like, yeah, he's the player. And everybody's like, oh, well, now he misses out on, like, the $300-something million Supermax. Like, oh, I'm sorry that he's not going to get $320 million. He's only going to get $275 million. Like, when you get to that level of money, you're not complaining about. I mean, if you are complaining about that, like, like get over it. Like, dude, it's like you're still a fucking multi-hundred millionaire. Like, and Luka's already getting paid pretty decent money. So it's like, dude. But yeah, then there was a couple other like small trades. Kyle Kuzma for Chris Middleton. I say small as in it wasn't so big. Like it wasn't Luka, AD, De'Aaron Fox. Like, right? But then it's more like Zach LaVine level players. It's like because it's Chris Middleton, who was a key part of a recent champion in Milwaukee and like a high level contender in Milwaukee. Because if you have Giannis, you're going to be a high-level contender, right? And then it was Kyle Kuzma and him getting out of, like, the, like, terrible – I don't want to say terrible. Yeah, terrible. The terrible organization of the Washington Wizards. I tried to be, like, more generous to Washington. But it's not my fault. I don't run the team, so it's not my fault that they're terrible. So who am I being generous to? Or why would I be generous? But, like, Kyle Kuzma – getting onto like an actual contender will be interesting. He started out his career like back on the Lakers, right? And everybody was excited about that, but then he ended up in Washington. I think he's kind of been there since. And then now he's finally away from Washington, which is probably good. Him going to play with Giannis and Drew Holiday and all of them and Dame, that'll be very interesting. That'll be good to see. So I wonder, like, because obviously Chris Middleton probably didn't want to leave, so maybe it was Kuzma wanted out, and like the Bucks must have wanted Kuzma. I don't know why, but that's interesting, and it's going to be great to see how that plays out. But then also the Kings traded a couple picks for Jonas Valanciunas. That was interesting. It's good for the Kings. They were like 2 second-round picks, so it's like they don't need those. And Valanciunas can help them now because now with Valanciunas and Sabonis and Zach LaVine, like that's going to be a pretty high-powered team. Like, it's not like that. I mean, like, yeah, they lost De'Aaron Fox, who's an amazing player, but I think they'll still be fighting in, like, the playoff contention area. Yeah. But, and then we don't know what's happening with Jimmy Butler. The Suns are trying, like, so hard to get Jimmy Butler, but it's like it hasn't happened yet unless something has hit my phone. In the meantime, the the Warriors were interested and they wanted to send Wiggins to Miami, Jimmy to Phoenix, and then bring KD back to Golden State. Then Kevin Durant was like, hell no, do not send me back to Golden State. He said he would like be willing to go to Miami and then like send Jimmy to Phoenix. But like if we're doing a direct trade, Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler, we better be getting some other than Jimmy Butler. That's all I gotta say. Well, we as in obviously I'm wearing the Phoenix jersey. I am from Arizona, so I am a Phoenix fan. But even if I'm not a Phoenix fan, I would be like so mad that like the Heat are getting KD just directly for Jimmy Butler. Not that Jimmy Butler's not great. Jimmy Butler is great. He's done so much for that Heat team. And everybody's like, oh, why would he like the Heat? The Heat should be mad. I'm like, the Heat got what they needed out of Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler put on for that city, put on for that team, and they never repaid him. Never. Like they didn't get him no championship. They didn't get him nothing. And like he deserved it. Like he fought. We seen him fight so damn hard against these Celtics teams and the Bucks series when they went to the finals. Oh wait. I believe it was the Warriors. He's in the East and so are the Bucks. That was my fault. That was a crazy blunder. But yeah, when he went to the Warriors in the finals, he went to the Celtics in the conference finals, the Bucks in the conference finals. It's like, dude, oh my gosh. And he like put his heart and soul out there, played like amazing basketball. The Nuggets, that's who they lost the finals to. Goodness gracious. Yeah. But he played lights out against these teams. I mean, he flopped a couple times, but still, he can't do everything. Like, it's Jimmy Butler. It's not Clark Kent. Like, what do you want him to do? But, he's done so much for Miami. Right now, he's like, okay, I want out. I can't win here. I cannot win here. So, hopefully he gets traded to the Suns somehow because the Suns are apparently still trying super hard to get it done. And I'd love to see it. I'm a Suns fan, huge Jimmy Butler fan. So, I'd love to see it. But yeah, that's a lot of what's going on in the NBA. I mean, the NBA has other topics right now as well. Like there's the Paris games where they're playing games in Paris, which is good. But then they're talking about a European league, which I don't think that's the best move, like an NBA Europe league, because there's also already the European leagues where we've gotten people like Jokic or these other French stars, Wemby. We've gotten Luka, right? We've gotten all them from Europe. So why would you do it? I think they should do the expansion instead of the Europe league. Just because the expansion just makes more sense, right? You get a team in Seattle again and a team in Vegas. Or even since there's one in Vegas and you would need one in the East, be like Seattle or Vegas and then Nashville. Or do 4 teams. Do Seattle, Vegas, Nashville, and I don't know. I don't know, I guess. Or there was what was it? Montreal. You could do that for an East team. Sorry, the dog. But yeah. But other than that, I'll check my notes. I don't know. Nothing too crazy else going on in the NBA. There's a couple injuries. Brandon Miller is out for the season. DeJounte Murray out for the season. That sucks for them. Isaiah Stewart is an absolute menace on the court. He actually got suspended for his own bobblehead night on the Pistons. That's so funny. It's just so funny. College basketball itself is going wild. We're getting close to March. I couldn't really tell you any but one player's name in college basketball right now, but that never matters. You find out their names in March if they really matter. You'll find out their names on draft night if they really matter. You know what I'm saying? So it's but this March is going to be full of some great basketball. There's so many good teams, so many upsets. College basketball is on the rise right now. But yeah, so also with the Suns, I think the Suns, right? So we don't Nurkic and the Suns are having a bad juju, right? We can't trade Beal to Miami because Beal doesn't want to go to Miami. KD to Miami wouldn't make sense for us. I think we should put in Nurkic and then a first round pick. Nurkic and a first round pick straight up for Jimmy Butler, right? Who says no to that? Other than the Heat. But that's the thing is, what are the Heat going to do? Because, you can't – Jimmy Butler's clearly not going to play for you again. No matter how many times you suspend him, it doesn't matter. He's not going to come back and play. He doesn't want to play for Miami. So you're either going to have to get rid of him now or just lose out on him for the rest of the season. Because, Yeah, he posted like the joke thing where it was like, he right, his card got declined because he's not employed, right? I promise you, Jimmy Butler still has money. The dude's making millions. He's got money, and he's fully capable of not playing the rest of the season. And I don't blame him if he doesn't. But yeah, we'll move on to that. We'll move on from that. We'll move on to the NFL. The NFL. Speaking of trades, Myles Garrett wants traded away, but Myles Garrett is like under contract for 2 more years, but those 2 years aren't guaranteed. He wants to go somewhere where he can win the Super Bowl, which he doesn't think is Cleveland, which I don't blame him because Cleveland's not winning a Super Bowl anytime soon. But I don't know, because obviously the non-guaranteed money is weird, but like apparently they'll still take a dead cap if they like trade him or like if they, I don't know. I think if I was Myles Garrett, I'd just be like, hey, don't pay me any of the money, cut me, and I'm just gonna go sign to another team, right? Because if it's not, how do I say this? Like, if it's not guaranteed, I don't understand why they would get like a dead cap hit, right? I don't know. I don't know how all that salary cap stuff works, but like, right, given that they have the whole Deshaun Watson situation, right, with all the money they're paying him, they better hope with whoever they draft is going to save Myles Garrett's hope. Like, if they get like some amazing quarterback and Myles Garrett's like, okay, maybe this team can't win the Super Bowl, which he's going to be lying to himself, but who knows? Because, yeah, Myles Garrett winning out is so bad for them. And then if they trade him before the draft, obviously they should probably trade a pass rusher at that or trade. Obviously, they should draft a pass rusher at that point, like the kid out of Penn State or even the kid out of Ohio State, Jack Sawyer or Muhammad or Abdul Carter. No, wait. I don't know. The dude from Penn State and then also Jack Sawyer from Ohio State. I wouldn't blame the Browns if they drafted one of them either way because, right, their third pick, right, unless – oh, well, I guess the Patriots probably won't draft a – or no. Are the Browns behind or in front of the Giants? What is the 2025 NFL draft order? Because if the Browns are ahead of the Giants, right, then you would say the Browns probably get a quarterback given that Deshaun Watson is obviously not going to cut it. Yeah, I don't know. But then if Myles Garrett leaves, then you're going to need another elite pass rusher, right? I'm not saying that one of these two dudes is going to be the same as Myles Garrett, but like that's how you got Myles Garrett before. It was a high first-round pick. Given the Patriots don't draft him, right? Because you would hope – I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They're in a tough spot. The Browns are in a tough spot. Me as a Steelers fan, I'd love to see it. And I'd love to see Myles Garrett out of the division as well. Trying to think, though. Where could he go? I don't know who would trade for him. Obviously, a bunch of people would want to trade for him because he's a high level. He's been a defensive player of the year candidate and or winner for like the past like 5 years at least. So why would you not want Myles Garrett? But yeah, that's crazy big news. Speaking of Deshaun Watson, there's the Justin Tucker news. Hopefully that's not true. That's where we'll leave that. I don't know what is or is not true. So until further evidence and further claims are proven, I will not comment any further on that. So yeah, the Justin Tucker thing is crazy. Myles Garrett wanting out is crazy. And then also more crazy, like scandalous NFL stuff is the Saints. I don't know if anybody heard this. This kind of like went swept under the rug almost in like a way. Like I heard one like report about it on like ESPN, but then nobody else was talking about it. I think it was ESPN. Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, the Saints got caught up like defending a bunch of like or helping like a bunch of like like a bunch of predatorial local Catholic priests." Because, like, apparently they, like, the Saints, right, are obviously connected to the Catholic community around them. The owner himself, I believe, is Catholic, right, and then all that other stuff. But, like, I guess there was Catholic priests, like, that were committing bad acts towards children. And then those priests were, like, getting like aid from the Saints in like helping provide amnesty and like not like helping keep them out of trouble. Which, if that's true, take that team out of New Orleans. Just to save that Superdome for like Super Bowls only. Get a new team in there. Craziness. Or we'll make that owner sell, actually. That's what should happen, given that's true. Like a Dan Snyder situation, like, hey, who wants to buy the Saints? Because they're up for sale. Concussions are down in the NFL, which is good. They were down to only 182 this year, which sounds like a lot, but there's also a lot of players. That's down 17% from last year as well, so we're only going in the right direction. I've had plenty of concussions, so I know how they feel, and I know how to, like, I can sympathize with the people who've had those concussions, right? And then the guarding cap, I guess it may have helped, it may not have helped, right? Romeo Dobbs got the concussion at the end of the season wearing the guardian cap, or it might have been in the playoff game as well. Actually, yeah, Romeo Dobbs got taken out of the playoff game that the Packers played against the Eagles while suffering a concussion while wearing the guardian cap, which, like, that looks bad for the guardian caps, but overall, I guess not. I don't say that this is directly connected to the guardian caps, but I don't know. Yeah, the Rams are also the LA Rams are now hosting a game in Australia, Melbourne, Australia, in 2026 season. So next season. That'll be interesting. That'll be really cool. Probably really cool for the teams to go down to Australia, experience that. That's just living the dream. Traveling for free, like, it's so crazy. Traveling for free while you're like, well, not probably for free, but like still traveling, like with a football team, playing professionally, playing to like in like a whole different country. That's just a dream come true right there. So that's good for people. Man, and then Super Bowl opening night was hilarious. If you guys didn't see anything from it, or like didn't watch any of it, you should definitely go see that. But the Super Bowl opening night, like, because Jameis Winston, that's what made it hilarious. He was like a correspondent for Fox Sports. And then Fox has obviously got the Super Bowl this year, which means we get Tom Brady in the booth for the Super Bowl, which, who better? His first year as a commentator, then doing the Super Bowl, that's so perfect. That is so perfect. But when it comes to the Super Bowl, it is this Sunday, and that is crazy to think about. This is the last football game, professional football game. Well, NFL football game, right? Because there's spring football now, the XFL. But this is the last NFL game for like until September. So yeah, sad, but at least it's going to go out with a bang. This is going to be a banger of a Super Bowl. Like, the Super Bowl is going to be an absolute banger. And if you don't think so, you're just a hater. Like, yeah, everybody's like got the Chiefs fatigue. Everybody hates the Chiefs. The refs are for the Chiefs. All those nonsensical excuses. This Super Bowl is still going to do numbers. It's still probably going to be the most watched thing all year. Still probably going to be like watched by a lot of these people who are like, oh, I'm not watching it, right? Whatever. But Brandon Graham is coming back for the Eagles, which is a huge factor. He's cleared to play, right? Probably going to play. Because if you're cleared to play, you're definitely going to play in the Super Bowl. He's going to play. The O-line for the Eagles is going to be a huge factor. Cam Jurgens was injured last week, but then he still kind of came out, so I'm sure he's probably going to be healed by the time. But then Eric Dickerson, he was like kind of injured. I don't know. But hopefully he's back. Hopefully everybody's healthy, because you just would love to see both teams at their full potential. A lot of people also are talking about, speaking of Tom Brady commentating, a lot of people are talking about whether or not if Pat Mahomes wins this Super Bowl, is he considered the GOAT over Tom Brady? Because universally now, Tom Brady's kind of considered the GOAT. A lot of people used to argue back in the day, like, oh no, he's not as good as Joe Montana, or he's not better than Joe Montana. Now it's pretty like globally, like socially accepted. Like, Tom Brady's kind of on top. Even now, some people already say that Pat Mahomes is better. Those people are kind of delusional. They're just more recency biased, right? But that's fine, because he is kind of looking like he's on a trajectory to do so, to win, or to not win, but like to surpass. But him winning the third straight Super Bowl right now, I don't say makes him better than Brady. He won't have as much Oh, sorry. The new camera setup is like kind of glitched, and then I was like, wait, did it switch over to the? But anyways, excuse that. Sorry. Pains of doing everything live, but now, so yeah, I don't think Pat Mahomes winning the third consecutive Super Bowl automatically makes him better than Brady. I think after this, then you have to analyze, like see like who they played, how well did they do, right? And it's not just Super Bowls as well. Tom Brady was just like, he's still on a different level as of right now. And then if Pat Mahomes wins, then we can reevaluate depending on how well he played, right? And then how, like, where does it look like they'll be next year, right? Because if they do 4 straight, then yeah, you're going to have to give it to Mahomes. But like 3 straight, I know it's going to be the first time it's ever happened, but Tom Brady, like, is still on top at that point. But yes, this is the closest any third consecutive team or any possible third consecutive Super Bowl winning team has gotten, because no other dual winning Super Bowl team has gotten to the playoffs, or not to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl. Like, no team that won 2 straight got back to the Super Bowl that third year. So this is definitely the closest anybody's been. So it's scary territory, which people are so afraid of seeing these Chiefs win. Get over it. Just get over it. No. I mean, honestly, do I want to see the Chiefs win? No, I'd rather see Saquon get the ring, me personally. But am I going to be like sitting there like super mad at the Chiefs? Like, no, I already accepted. My team got bounced first round of the playoffs, so I'm already accepting. Like, I damn near don't care who wins the Super Bowl. I just want to see good football. So like, if it's like a 45 to like 12 blowout or something, that's what's going to upset me. I'm gonna be like, wow, this is terrible. By that point, I'm just going to start just chugging beers with my friends that I'm watching the game with. I'm like, all right, you know what? No, I'm kidding. Definitely don't need to be doing that. But yeah, like, why are people so mad about this super talented Super Bowl? Like, I get it if you don't want to see the Chiefs win, but like, this is the hardest test they're ever going to face. So then if the Chiefs do win, like, one thing I hope is there's no egregious calls, and the other thing I hope is it's not a blowout. Other than that, I don't care who wins, and I don't care like anything else. But like, I hope there's no egregious calls unless they're against the Chiefs, because then it's like, if there's an egregious call against the Chiefs, that'd be so hilarious for all the people who are like, oh my gosh, the refs, they love the Chiefs. It's rigged. The NFL wants them to win. No. Like, the NFL wants the records to stay the same, because then next time somebody wins 2 straight, right? Because it's a lot harder to win 3 straight than it is to win 2 straight. Because the next time the 2 straight one, then it's going to be like, oh, can they do it? Can they do it? Right? But then if somebody makes 3 again straight and wins them all again, there's not going to be like I don't know. But yeah, and then Andy Reid said he's coming back next year. I believe that was whether or not they win or lose the Super Bowl, he's coming back, which is good. I didn't really see Andy Reid going anywhere. Huh. Camera battery died. All right, and we are back. Okay, so sorry, excuse me, forgive me for the new, like, this whole new camera setup. Like I said, right, it's very new. So I'm not really super because I'm very not tech savvy either. So I'm not super like big on how everything works. And now it's just the camera battery died, but now we're back. But yeah, Andy Reid is coming back, just like I just came back. But yeah, he's coming back. I never really questioned that. I didn't understand why that was like a question in the Super Bowl opening night thing. It was like, oh, is Andy Reid coming back? Like, well, one, if he wins again, he's going to want to win again, right? And two, if he loses, he's going to be like, oh, like, because you don't understand Andy Reid. He's going to be like, I got to go out on top. I got to come back and get a Super Bowl and then retire. So, yeah. And then also Travis Kelce was like, they were asking him when he was to be in 3 years. And he was like, oh, I want to still be playing football. So it's like Travis Kelce, right, and then Andy Reid. Everybody's coming back, whether or not they win or lose, which is good. But yeah, overall Super Bowl pick though, I'm going Eagles. I think the defense is younger, faster, more well coached, which is crazy to say because Steve Spagnuolo has a really well coached team, and the Chiefs are also fast and slightly young defense. But I think the Eagles got the slight edge on defense. And then offensively, of course, the Chiefs are better coached necessarily because Andy Reid's play calling is a lot better than Kellen Moore's. And then they probably have the better quarterback of the two, even though Jalen is a very underrated individual. That's the thing. They have the game changer of Saquon. I think Saquon will be the difference. I don't think, even though Kansas City's defense is really good, I don't think it's good enough to stop Saquon from taking over the game. Or not even necessarily taking over the game, but just like making an impact. Like I don't think it'll be like a Saquon show. Like it's not going to be 8 rushing touchdowns again like the Commanders game. It's not going to be like, oh, he ran over him like the Rams game. It's going to be like Saquon has like 1 or 2 huge runs, and those are very key factoring plays to them winning the game. But I think it's going to be very close. Probably like field goal touchdown. Like, right, it's going to be less than a 1-score game or win. But then there was also some more coaching hires. So, but that is Super Bowl pick. That is a Super Bowl pick for me. But yes, so there was some more coaching hires. Steve Wilks is the defensive coordinator for the Jets. I don't know how important that really was. Aaron Glenn is a defensive guy. So unless he's like super focused on head coaching and like being like, okay, I want to focus on head coaching, so I'm going to get a play call for the defense. Steve Wilks is a pretty decent defensive coordinator, so that's not bad. Patrick Graham is going to continue being the defensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders, while the Raiders actually stole Ohio State's only remaining coordinator and made Chip Kelly their offensive coordinator, which was, to me, I was like, oh, this is crazy. And then a lot of people now speculate. I was talking to my friend. My friend brought up a good point to me. My friend Jacob, he brought up a good point to me that like, oh, this actually means that they might draft Will Howard. And I was like, oh, because their main disparity is quarterback. And Will Howard, I don't care what anybody says, has clearly showed that he is a first-round over, not like a first overall, but a first-round quarterback capability. So him going to the Raiders needing a quarterback, and then Will Howard probably being available in the time or in like near the pick where the Raiders will pick, like that's a definite like possibility. The Buccaneers also stayed in house with one of their coordinator hires. Their offensive coordinator Liam Cohen went to obviously go be the coach of the Jaguars. Oh, they're by the bed.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You're good. Oh, but yeah, so the Bucs, they made their pass game coordinator their offensive coordinator now after Liam Cohen left. So that's good for the Bucs. It's not a lot of like new change, right? Sometimes the new change could be bad. The Bucs have changed coordinators now twice, 2 years in a row. But like, right, if you hire somebody in house, it kind of keeps the familiarity on par. So that's good. And then like their offense wasn't an issue last year, so that's definitely good for them. I'm sure the pass game coordinator is going to have a lot of the same stuff, which will probably lead to a lot of the same success as last year. I mean, yeah, they obviously didn't make the Super Bowl, but they did make the playoffs. They do still run the NFC South. Good move on their part. The Cowboys stole the Cardinals' O-line coach, Clayton Adams, and made him their offensive coordinator, which is good because the Cowboys need to get back to having a good O-line. Because if they do have a good O-line, Dak Prescott could be like a top 15 quarterback. Without a good O-line, Dak Prescott is not a top 15 quarterback. That is a simple answer. He could even, if you give him a great O-line with CeeDee Lamb, he could be a top 10 quarterback. A lot of people always have him top 10 anyway, but we've clearly known that I don't think I know Dak Prescott is overrated. First of all, why is he the highest paid? We're not going to get into that. But, yeah, so the Cowboys did make the O-line coach from the Cardinals, who has improved that Cardinals O-line quite a bit, their new offensive coordinator. So that's good. Schottenheimer, I don't think they made – unless I'm mistaken, I don't think they made a defensive coordinator hire yet. But I don't think it's going to be Zimmerman from last year. So, yeah, but that's a really good hire by the Cowboys, which is interesting. Then the Jets also picked their offensive coordinator, Tanner Engstrand. I forget where he comes from, but it seemed like a pretty decent hire for them. They seem to be on like a really good hiring they seem to be on a really good hiring trend. The Aaron Glenn thing, right? And then we'll see who their GM they brought their GM in from, what was it, the Lions? It might have been the Lions as well, or the Bucs. One of those two. So that was good. The Jaguars made Tony Boselli the first ever draft pick of the Jaguars franchise. They made him the executive vice president of football, operations and all that. That's really good for the Jaguars. Definitely like to see that, bringing back the OG player from their team. That's good. Let's see. Arizona Cardinals took Ohio State's offensive line coach and then made them their new offensive line coach, which Ohio State did have a really good line. They also had a lot of really good players. So we'll see whether or not that guy's coaching and skill level of coaching translates to the NFL well, which hopefully it does. Also, I think, was Paris Campbell? I can't remember if I think the Cardinals got recently got like an Ohio State offensive lineman. I don't think it's Paris Campbell. I might be wrong. It might be Paris Campbell, but I think they recently did get a starting lineman from Ohio State, which that's good. There's a connection there. The Texans hired Nick Caley from the Rams as their new offensive coordinator to replace Bobby Slowick. I still don't understand the Bobby Slowick firing. It's just so weird to me. The timing and like the situation, like there had to be something going on behind the scenes. Like they couldn't have just been like, oh, hey, we don't think Bobby Slowick has got what it takes anymore, because he kind of showed pretty well this year. But they got this guy from the Rams, and he seems like he was doing a pretty good job over there. He wasn't the offensive coordinator. He was like some kind of like quarter, like, I don't know. He had something to do with I don't know if it was a passing game coordinator. A lot of passing game coordinators have gotten promoted this year, which is crazy. But yeah, I don't know. New Orleans still doesn't have a head coach. I don't know. Obviously, a lot of people are assuming that it's going to be Kellen Moore. If they're smart, they would hire any other coordinator in that game. In the Super Bowl is what I'm referring to. Because Kellen Moore is the worst coordinator in that game. But I think they're going to hire Kellen Moore. That being said. Which that may or may not work out for the Saints. But I don't know. If I was the Saints, I would have kept Rizzi. The players liked him. And, I mean, yeah, that doesn't always work out. Obviously, Antonio Pierce didn't work out, and the players did like him, right? But then everything kind of fell apart. But, right, that doesn't mean that every time it happens it's not going to work out, right? It's like, I don't know. Right? Because, it's like saying, the Jets, right? They hired Aaron Glenn right after having Robert Saleh, right? They went from a defensive coordinator to another defensive coordinator, right? And it's like, I don't know. The NCAA topics that are on the board was nothing really too crazy. Kevin Colbert, the former Steelers GM, became basically the GM of Colorado State. That was interesting. Notre Dame got a new defensive coordinator after they lost Al Golden to Cincinnati Bengals. Chris Ash is their new defensive coordinator. Will Howard had his Dr. Pepper commercial. A lot of people hated it. I thought it was hilarious. It was like kind of just him like allowed to like. I mean, the dude just won like a championship, right? Like let him get like a break. Let him be goofy. Like let him go, just like do like right. And like Dr. Pepper sponsors the playoffs, right? So it's not like he was like, oh, like they probably reached out to him and were like, hey, can you come do this, right? And he's like, oh yeah. It's like, dude, why would he have like any like source of like some ridiculous like level of shame, right? Like it was just like him being goofy on the camera, right? And everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, what did I just watch? Like this is terrible." I watched it and I was like, you know what? I want a Dr. Pepper, and that's what Dr. Pepper wanted. And also, I was like, you know what? I also want Will Howard to coach, or not to coach, to play for my team, which I wanted both of those beforehand because I'm a huge Dr. Pepper fan and a huge Will Howard fan. But that's not the point. I fully support the fact that this commercial was made. People were like just hating on it so bad, like left and right. It was hilarious. People were like, what the hell did I just watch? What is this? Oh my gosh. Like somebody tell Will Howard that he can't be doing this. I love it. And then Arch Manning, expect him in a Red Bull commercial because he just got a lot of NIL money from Red Bull, which is interesting. Also, I just started drinking the new Red Bull Zeros. They have monk fruit extract instead of like sugar or anything. Which, right, and it's also not fake sugar either. It's monk fruit extract, which if you don't know what monk fruit is, it's a fruit that can be used as a sweetener. But if you look into it, it's like definitely a way healthier version of just like our normal like super processed like sugar, right? Also, like sugar cane itself would be fine, but like they're not putting that into Red Bulls. I don't know what to tell you. But the monk fruit extract instead of the sugar is like really healthy. Or a healthier alternative. It's far healthier than like the processed sugar they're putting in. Obviously, there may be like it may not be the most healthiest form of monk fruit extract, but anyways, that's not the point. We're not here to do Red Bull reviews, although it was great, and I do suggest trying out Red Bull Zero. But Red Bull was brought up because them and Arch Manning, the new starting quarterback of the University of Texas, will partner, and then he will get some NIL money. So maybe he'll be in a not a Super Bowl. Maybe he'll be in a commercial. Maybe he will be in a Super Bowl commercial. Actually, maybe I just manifested that into existence. But yeah. So a lot of college news there. College football kind of dead right now. Right, will kind of probably be dead until the draft. But even that's not really college football. That's NFL football. There was like the signing window. I haven't really dove into that, right? But like right now, I can dive into it before the next time. But yeah, so then Super Bowl pick, Eagles. A lot of good stuff coming out of Super Bowl opening day. Andy Reid, Travis Kelce staying for a couple more years. Coach hirings, nothing too big. New Orleans is probably getting Kellen Moore. Award finalists. That's one thing we really wanted to talk about. I did a lot more. I did a little bit, not like a lot more, but like I did a little bit more research into like who I think should win. And they all seem kind of like, to me, simple, but like maybe to others, like there's obviously probably going to be debates out there. But we'll just get right into that. So like MVP, the 5 people up are Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Saquon Barkley, and Jared Goff. As much as I love Jared Goff, I don't even think he should be on this list. Saquon probably won't win because he's a running back, but he should and probably will win Offensive Player of the Year. But I think Josh Allen should win MVP. I originally thought Joe Burrow should win MVP, but I don't know. He did play like Joe Burrow is like him. I think Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Josh Allen. I do not think that matters when it comes to MVP, though. I think MVP should be Josh Allen. Josh Allen carried his team very far. Right, and then like he's like so valuable to that team, right? Also because like Joe Burrow does have Jamar Chase, right? Then obviously there's the connection, and he obviously also has T. Higgins, right? But like Josh Allen is kind of more like, I don't want to say more the superhero on his team, but like, right, he doesn't have the Triple Crown winner this year, so like. Not to take away from the amazingness that Joe Burrow performed this year, but Josh Allen did a little bit more for his team as a whole. And also, like, Josh Allen's not even up for he's not even up for Offensive Player of the Year, which doesn't make any sense. How you're going to be up for MVP and like a front-running candidate, but you're not up for Offensive Player of the Year, as literally almost every other person on this list is. I just don't get that. But like, that's also what, like, I'm like, okay, so you can give Josh MVP and then give one of these other 3 individuals that are also on the MVP list, that are also on the Offensive Player of the Year list, give it to one of them. But I don't know. So yeah, and also it's due time for Josh Allen to win an MVP. Like, come on, who are we kidding? Coach of the Year was Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, and Andy Reid. There's a real answer here, and there's who we think's going to win. Andy Reid should win Coach of the Year every year. He's the best coach in the NFL. Probably ever. Let's be real. Especially if they win 3 consecutive Super Bowls and you're having the argument of whether or not Mahomes is better. That's not the argument we need to be having. We need to be having, like, who the hell is better than Andy Reid? Nobody. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. No, that's Andy Reid's statement now. He's going to take that from Jim Harbaugh. That's his. But yeah, like Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell. I think Dan Quinn should win, me personally. What him and Jaden Daniels did in that team is insane. Also, Kevin O'Connell might win it too. Kevin O'Connell, I think, will win it. Andy Reid shouldn't really be like the award should be named after Andy Reid. That's how much Andy Reid should win it. But I don't know if he will. But also Dan Quinn, Kevin O'Connell did some special stuff. But the thing is I think what takes away from Dan Quinn is he had an amazing quarterback. Kevin O'Connell made an amazing quarterback. That's the difference, right? And then also, like, right, in MCDC, Dan Campbell, he had like these amazing coordinators that both got jobs, right? So that kind of takes away from him. Sean Payton, I'm going to say it. I think he's slightly overrated. I got a friend of mine, Jacob, who I continuously reference in this show. He loves Sean Payton. And I'm like, now that Pete Carroll is in that division, Sean Payton is the 4th best coach. I don't care what you say. Come at me. Hate me. Don't care. Get over it. Sean Payton's the 4th best coach in that division. So, yeah. But I think Kevin O'Connell will probably win it just because he made Sam Darnold and the other two had – or all these other coaches had good quarterbacks. Well, I mean, yeah. But then assistant coach of the year, right? You had Joe Brady, Vic Fangio, Brian Flores, Aaron Glenn, and Ben Johnson, right? And then 2 of those, right, are, like I said, Dan Campbell's coordinators, which, like I said, probably takes away from his coach of the year candidacy. They both also got jobs, head coaching jobs. Joe Brady was up for a few interviews, so was Vic Fangio and Brian Flores. I think either Vic Fangio or Aaron Glenn should win this because what they did to those defenses, right? The way Vic Fangio took that Eagles defense that was absolute hot garbage at the end of last year and then made them amazing with like all these like rookie and second-year players, right? Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, right? And then Zach Bond, like these like guys that hadn't made a name for themselves yet. And now we're like, they're all household names, defensive rookie, defensive player of the year award candidates. Like, that's amazing. And especially after Vic Fangio got like cast out, right, by the Dolphins. Craziness. And then Aaron Glenn, the way he like, that's the thing. He lost all the people that were names on his thing. He like Jack Campbell was gone, Alex Anzalone was gone. All of his like star players. Aiden Hutchinson got injured. Like all these people got injured, and then Aaron Glenn still pulled that off and almost brought that team like to an NFC Championship with nobody on that team, nobody on that defense. So yeah, that definitely should be Aaron Glenn or Vic Fangio. I'm fine with either one of them winning. Joe Brady, did you not see him coach that damn Chiefs game? Was terrible. Brian Flores did do great things with Minnesota, but I don't know if it was really just nearly as great as Vic Fangio or Aaron Glenn. And then Ben Johnson, If you gave me, no offense to Ben Johnson, I think he's good, and I hope he does well in Chicago. He's also the fourth best coach by far in that division. And if you gave me Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Sonic and Knuckles, the best offensive line arguably in the league, if you gave me that, I promise you I'm going to have some success. I'm going to call some pretty good plays. Like, I don't know what to tell you. No disrespect to Ben Johnson. But, like, yeah, he had a far more stacked side of the ball than the other four of these coaches. But then comeback player of the year, you had Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Gonzalez, the cornerback from the Patriots, and then also Damar Hamlin. Damar Hamlin, all due respect, should have won it last year. Not Joe Flacco, but why the hell is Damar Hamlin on the ballot this year? He's not, and like, unless they're planning to give it to him, like as a forgive us for last year for making the stupidest mistake that's ever happened on NFL honors. I don't care if there's ever been any egregious MVPs or anything like that. That was the dumbest thing. It's like this dude just died last year, came back, and then became a starter for a team. And then now you want to be like, oh, well, Joe Flacco was on his couch, though. What did he even come back from? He came back from retirement? At that point, when Tom Brady came out of retirement and brought the Bucs to the Super Bowl, we should have gave him comeback player of the year. What the hell? That's ridiculous. Absolutely. But I hope they do not do that to DeMar, even though, because that doesn't really right the ship. It doesn't. I think it should go to J.K. Dobbins. Because also Sam Darnold didn't come back from anything. Gonzalez is great over there. He's probably one of the most slept-on cornerbacks in the league because he's definitely probably up there in the top 5. But just because he's on such a bad team in the Patriots. Next year, that Gonzalez dude is going to be, especially if they pair him with Travis Hunter or something. Oh, my gosh. That Patriots team is going to be kind of scary next year. But, yeah, and then Burrow, what he came back from wasn't nearly as significant as J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins has been, had J.K. Dobbins returned last year or the year before, or even the year before from the catastrophic injuries he's had, he would have won it then. So why not give it to him now? But, yeah, it should be J.K. Dobbins. Defensive player of the year, Zach Bond, previously mentioned. Myles Garrett, previously mentioned for the trade request. Trey Hendrickson, who led sacks. Patrick Surtain II. And then T.J. Watt. So your normal candidates here with Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, who surprisingly weren't the sack leaders. So I don't think you could really put them above Trey Hendrickson. So I don't think either one of them should get it. But Zach Bond, basically best middle linebacker, inside linebacker. Trey Hendrickson, basically best defensive lineman or edge rusher, right? And then Patrick Surtain II, probably the best cornerback this year. I like that, how it's really okay, we've got the best DB, best middle 3, and then best rushing 4 guy. I don't know. I don't know if we should really give it to Zach Bond. He was great, but also what he's got going on around him is really great too. I think Trey Hendrickson should get some love here. Actually, I don't know. If him or Patrick Surtain gets it, I'll be fine with that. Because Patrick Surtain, lockdown cornerback for years. He's kind of deserved this. Actually, yeah, I think they should give it to him. Even though Trey Hendrickson led sacks, it was kind of a down year for sacks necessarily, highest leading scorer or leader in sacks wise. It wasn't nearly as impressive as others have done. And then also that doesn't really mean much as T.J. Watt one time led the league in sacks, but then Myles Garrett got the defense player of the year. But that's none of my business. But I think Patrick Surtain the second should get it because that's fair. I could see an argument for Hendrickson or Bond. Crazy enough, I can't really see the argument for T.J. Watt or Myles Garrett this year. I could see T.J. Watt actually. I don't know, but I think Patrick Surtain second should and will win it. Offensive player of the year. Barkley, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson. Given 3 of these dudes are on the MVP list, they're probably higher candidates for higher possibilities and candidates to win this job or win this award. Sorry, Saquon, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. Not to take away from King Henry or Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase definitely has some candidacy as well, as he was the Triple Crown winner, and that is not easy to do. But I think Saquon should win it. The dude had best running back year. He brought running backs back, type of thing. The dude, oh my gosh. Saquon's year this year has to win some type of award. So if it's not MVP, it better be Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Cooper DeJean, Fisk from the Raiders, Quinyon Mitchell, Chop Robinson from the Dolphins, and then Jared Verse from the Rams. My friend thinks it's going to be Jared Verse, but he's kind of a Rams homer. Jacob as well. I talk to him about sports way too much, so that's why you guys hear me reference him frequently on the show. I think Jared Verse is a very good candidate. I think he's also better than Fisk and Chop Robinson, but I think what Quinyon Mitchell and what Cooper DeJean did is far too impressive. And I think you can't really give it to Cooper DeJean, even though he was the slot guy, but Quinyon Mitchell was the main guy. And he's their number 1 on the depth chart, I feel like. So you can't give an award to his backup over him when he did just as well. But both of them being, obviously everybody's rookies, but both of them being rookies and shut down corners, that's impressive. So I think you got to give that to Quinyon Mitchell. Because like I said, it should go to one of those two, even though Jared Verse was good. The Eagles beat him out when it mattered most. So they have a better defense. It's just plain and simple. Sorry about it. But Quinyon is over Cooper DeJean on the depth chart for a reason. So I think you got to give it to Quinyon. And then Offensive Rookie of the Year was Brock Bowers, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Bo Nix, or Brian Thomas Jr. And seeing all these Rookie of the Year players, oh my gosh, we have such good talent. How does this pool of talent just never ending? Because Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors are great wide receivers. Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix are great quarterbacks. We're on their way too, right? All these players are on their way too, right? Because they're just rookies. Well, actually, they're all kind of there. And then Brock Bowers breaking tight end records. I think, honestly, if before the playoffs, I would have said give it to Brock Bowers. Now that the playoffs have happened, you can't not give this to Jaden Daniels. The way that man came into the playoffs and was running shit in the playoffs, he won 2 playoff games. I wouldn't say almost a third, but he played well in the third one, right? It's not his fault that the defense absolutely could not stop the Eagles at all. Because watch, you guys think I'm playing, the Chiefs defense is not going to be able to stop that Eagles team as well as we think, right? The Chiefs defense is great, but it's not going to be able to stop that Eagles team as much as we think, and the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. But yeah, you got to give it to Jaden Daniels. But I wouldn't really be so mad if it went to Brock Bowers either, but Malik Neighbors, Bo Nix, and Brian Thomas Jr., nothing against them, but I don't think any of those 3 should win this award. That'd be crazy to give it to any of those. Although they all did great, right? And then I don't know. You just can't. It has to be Jaden Daniels or Brock Bowers. I personally think it should be Jaden Daniels. Maybe that's just me being a super big Jaden Daniels fan. But I'm a big Brock Bowers fan too. They're both, oh my gosh, I just love to watch great football, and they both perform that. So I think just Jaden Daniels doing so well in the playoffs, you got to give it to him. And the Eagles game was bad, but had to end somewhere. Had to end somewhere for the Commanders, and that's sadly where it ended. But yeah, those are all the awards. So I'm thinking MVP Josh Allen, Coach of the Year Kevin O'Connell. Actually, I'll say it. Coach of the Year Andy Reid. Give it to Andy Reid. Assistant Coach of the Year Aaron Glenn. We'll go Aaron Glenn, just because of what he did with that injured defense. Comeback Player of the Year J.K. Dobbins. Defensive Player of the Year Patrick Surtain, too. Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon Barkley. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Quinyon Mitchell. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels. That's who I think should win. That's honestly overall who I think will win. The only one I'm iffy on is like I said, Andy Reid probably won't get the respect he deserves, and it'll probably be Kevin O'Connell. But I did say that, so either way, I'm right. I hate to be that guy, but I did say. But yeah, and then there's a few UFC topics we can talk about. There was a recent fight night that happened, and like what we mostly got out of that is Israel Adesanya might be cooked. But I mean, he looked good, and he got caught. I think they called the fight a little too early, but that's fine. Dana White did say that he looked good too. So like, but Dricus Du Plessis said like, oh, Izzy's never going to do a title run again. But like, honestly, Dricus Du Plessis is lucky he has a title right now. The dude's like not even that good. He's just fighting bums like Sean Strickland, which we're not even going to get into that. We'll talk about that whenever it happens. But Tony Kakui Ferguson retired. That was a couple weeks ago, but we're just now getting into that. Bryce Mitchell supported Hitler. I don't know why UFC didn't cut him. Dana White was pissed. Also, Dana White said he's also going to be president of the UFC until the day he dies, which is impressive work, which also I can probably see happening. I don't see Dana White. Like, Dana White loves this shit. Alex Pereira wants to box Alexander Usyk, which would be insane. Those two dudes going at it, and I think Pereira would win too. And we need a UFC fighter to actually go in and beat a boxer. I mean, Ngannou beat Fury, but it didn't go on record like that. So like, we need somebody to actually go in there and win, right? And also, Ngannou's not touching Usyk. Usyk's so good. And then Pantoja, he wants 2 belts. He wants to move up to fight Dvalishvili. I say give him the shot. Because, like, Dana's so against the whole 2-belt thing, but why not? It's so fun. It's so fun to, like, let them do that. But, yeah, so we got electric NBA coming up because we got to see how these trades worked out. And plus, post-All-Star break is when it starts heating up, and it's also when the Super Bowl's over. Or NFL is over, basically. Free agency will be soon after the Super Bowl. Obviously, on the next episode, we will talk about what happens in the Super Bowl because it will be this weekend. There will be more fights to come. March Madness will start soon. We got some good sports overall is coming. Also, shout out to Devin Booker. He just became the Suns' highest leading scorer all time, or the most points scored by the Suns of all time. With a dagger 3, or not a dagger 3, but like a nice clean 3. Sorry, but yeah, we'll see who the Saints hire. We'll see how the Super Bowl goes. Free agency and draft coming up. March Madness coming up. Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah, so that is it for today's episode, though. Overall craziness with that Luka trade and then other trades as well in the NBA. Hopefully Jimmy Butler gets traded before tonight because I think the trade deadline is either today or tomorrow. Yeah. NFL, Super Bowl, like, I don't know. Crazy stuff going down. But yeah, so it's going to be good. Very interested to see how these trades work out in the NBA. Very interested to see how this amazing Super Bowl ends up. But yeah, I will be here again next week, same time, Wednesday, 6:00, and I would love to see any of y'all here. I'm very happy to finally have the better quality camera set up. I'm also still working on creating a logo right, but I want it to be right before I end up actually releasing it. I don't want to create the logo and then have to create another logo and create another logo right because I want to keep improving. Although I do want to keep improving, but yes. And then I'm working on getting like a better lighting set up. This is probably my last episode in this exact area because I'm going to be rearranging this room, buying new furniture for this room, and then So please continue to come back, continue to show support. I did notice recently that my comments are turned off on my videos after they go to the page. You could still comment live, but they're turned off after you go to the page. So I'm definitely going to work on the settings there, and I will figure that out. But yes, so more improvements coming. And thank you for supporting me through the beginning stages. And thank you for continuing to support me as I improve on my craft. But yeah, I love doing this. I love talking sports. I consume enough of it and study enough of it to where I believe it's beneficial for me to come on here and talk about it. But yes, thank you so much to everyone. Again, I know I say it too much, but thank you. It really means a lot. So yeah, much love to everyone and good night.